of that Affinity deck. On the left, Jeremy Stowe playing Rug Delver. And, I mean, it was an impressive showing from Jeremy defeating Dredge. I mean, he's going to have to cut a path through a bunch of weird, non-traditional decks. First Dredge, then lands. And if he beats this, waiting in the finals is Elves? What a mix of decks. I will say, this, I mean, considering how many people have been talking about Grizzlebrand being Grizzleband, and people talking about land tax and, you know, its potential shakeups, and the fact that Brainstorm and Force of Will have been so dominant for so long. I mean, at this top 8, how many of these decks did even play Brainstorm or Force of Will? We have 2 Elf decks, a Lands deck, a Dredge deck, a Maverick deck. Only 3 of the decks in the top 8 even played... Oh, Affinity too! Only 2 of the decks in the top 8 played Brainstorm or Force of Will. That's wild. Literally just 1 Rug Delver and 1 Stoneblade, the 2 decks that we've been talking about as being pillars of this format, but only 2 Brainstorm Force of Will decks. Is it possible? Is Legacy actually a healthy format? Despite Grizzlebrand and now land tax? What is going on?
I do wonder how many Grizzlebrands showed up. I mean, I don't know what kind of metagame breakdown that Glenn Jones has put together for us, but hopefully there will be that information so we can kind of get a glance and see, did Grizzlebrand just not show up in the room? You know, it's pretty cool when you've got like a major boxing tournament and then the champ doesn't show up. On the left here, Jeremy Stowe, Rug Delver, Bobby Kovacs on the right. Both of these players poring over the details of their opponent's deck list. Bobby, the first one to look up. He's like prepared to figure out exactly how he needs to sculpt his game with lands such that he can defend against the aggressive possibilities that Rug Delver delivers. Rug Delver is by many considered to be a descendant of Canadian Threshold. That's, to me, a little ironic since we are on the threshold of Canada. Right across the river, I can literally see Canada from where I'm sitting. That's really kind of cool, I think. We have a broken smiley face from Jeremy Stowe there with his cards laid out. And Bobby Kovacs, his cards all in hand, ready to start playing. And we see, with these two, there is no coin flip. Instead, your seed in the Swiss, that means Bobby Kovacs, second seed, gets to choose to play. We see a mulligan from Jeremy Stowe. Bobby Kovacs content with his hand. Off camera, we have 2 friends, Caleb Durward and Chris Anderson, playing the Elves Mirror match. It's important to note that yesterday, Caleb, no idea what he wanted to play today. And today, Caleb and Chris, 60 card mirrors for the game 1, but a very different sideboard than each other. Only, I believe, 4 Fairy Macabre and 2 Thorn of Amethyst shared by the 2 decks, as well as Mortarpod, Kasali Pride Mage, and Gaddock. There's a lot of other cards that are just different in this sideboard. Now, that match, we'll see which one of Patrick Chapin's White Hats, Caleb Durward or Chris Anderson, will continue 4th with Elves. Meanwhile, lands up a card because Jeremy has had to mulligan. Lands on the play, and we are about to begin.
Oh, you can tell. Jeremy's going to keep that hand.
Okay, I guess this is fine.
Yep.
Turn 1 Exploration.
Wow.
Force. Good call.
For sure. For sure. He's got to slow Bobby down. In Exploration, it's almost like you're taking a turn and a half every turn.
Anything else? Mox. And it works. Anything else with the Mox? No. Back to Jeremy.
Dude, I would have loved it if you would have played another Exploration. Just for the tilt factor. Alright, so it's still blowing my mind, the playing 2 mana bonds. Like, how... Okay, people in the Twitterverse, explain to us, what is there... Maybe there's something we're missing. Is there... Because it's possible. I mean, legacy technology changes so
Absolutely.
rapidly. Are we missing something?
I mean, I imagine Mana Bond as one of those cards, much like, let's say, Careful Study in Dredge. You want to get that Life from the Loam in the yard more than you really want to, be messing around with casting it initially.
Well, and plus, like, you just need to have as many fast bonds as you can get. Like, that's like what you do.
And Jeremy Stowe with his own version of a 1 casting cost green spell, a 1/1 creature.
What a mongoose. Sorry, mongoose. Tabernacle, ensuring Jeremy will never have mana to play anything ever again. And Mana Bond, ensuring Bobby can play whatever he wants for free, as much as he wants from now on.
Does he have the Loam? What's he got? Or did he not play? He only played 1 land. Never mind.
He doesn't want to discard his card. I think he's got an intuition in his hand, so he doesn't want to discard his hand.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan, joined by Patrick Chapin. This is the semifinals.
What up?
208 players, now down to 4.
It's exciting. So Wasteland on the Tabernacle means Jeremy Stowe has the possibility of having a mana on his main phase again.
Is that a Mazavith?
Yeah, but that's
not
what you want
effective against the Nimble Mongoose. Untargetables.
Mongoose.
Sadly, Nimble Mongoose cannot be targeted even by you.
Well, so there's a humility in play, right?
In with the goose.
The goose is loose.
There we go. And a Goyf.
The goofy Goyf and the goose.
That is a small Goyf, only 2/3 currently.
3/4, right? Because of the exploration?
Oh yeah, exploration, 3/4, thank you very much. Oblivion Stone, we saw this earlier.
Well,
might be a little slow this time.
Absolutely. I mean, that Mazavith helps, though, because it does hold off the goofy Goyf.
Take that, Goyf.
Dude, drop Winter Orb. Teach him some things. Or back to basics. Who cares if you have no basics yourself? Yes. Dude, what would this land deck do? I would love to freaking back to
boy.
basics the hell out of this.
Maze number 2 protects Bobby from a wasteland.
Yeah, and that doesn't even really matter because at this point he's pretty much in on the goose. But what he needs to do is figure out how to get some cards in his graveyard because he needs that mongoose to be in some triple time.
Only 1 damage a turn. 3 cards in Jeremy Stowe's.
Yes.
There we go. Look at that.
Another card in the graveyard.
Days. Intuition does not work. Another land from Bobby Kovacs. 1 mana short of being able to activate the Oblivion Stone for explosion, but he can begin to protect his own permanents.
Yeah, and at this point, Jeremy has 4 cards in the graveyard, right? With two fetch lands, making it a virtual 6. If he can find a way to get 1 more card in his own graveyard, his Nimble Mongoose is switching into triple speed. And then I don't know if you've ever seen a mongoose go that fast, but that's pretty fast.
There it is. He's there. Threshold has been achieved. Yes. Goodbye, goose in a daze.
All right. Totally respectable. The goose is now actually loose.
Triple the damage. Ponder.
Love it. The fetch lands, the discipline, not cracking those fetch lands because he wants the shuffle. What's he looking for game 1?
I think he's looking for an ooze amongst other things, but before he can lay that ooze, that Oblivion Stone is a problem.
What about Stifle? He's got 4 Stifles main deck. It'd be so hot to do it on the Oblivion Stone, right?
Let's see what the Oblivion Stone reads.
Well, no, it's sacrifice, so otherwise you could just put a counter on itself to protect itself and then just blow everything up. Is that right? Or is it just put a counter on another?
I actually have no idea.
Oblivion Ring?
Oblivion Stone.
Oblivion Stone?
Sacrifice is a part of the cost, so yes, a Stifle would be
Stifle
devastating.
Would be hot with a capital. Hot. God, these Rug Delver decks, so good, so consistent. Such a low curve and so many good, meaningful pieces of interaction despite spending so little mana.
What's he protecting? He's protecting his Mox, a fate counter on the Mox.
What to do? What to do?
Bobby Kovacs still has a comfortable life total, though.
16 means...
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. All right, so even more. An even bigger life total. And he decides to play it out anyway, because in case he faces a wasteland, he wants to just get the extra free 2 life.
Zuran Orb. Such a cool old card. And Fate on the Zuran Orb.
A good choice.
That is the land he needs to make Oblivion Stone work.
Cracks now. Even if Jeremy had the Stifle, though, he'd save it for the Oblivion Stone.
4 Stifle. That's not messing around.
No. There are some people who mess around, and then there's Jeremy Stowe.
I don't think I have seen a 4 Stifle Rug Delver list in quite a long time.
Dude, he wants to get busy. He's been playing very well, too.
Jeremy cracking his first land amongst these he's saved up, I should say.
Love how well he's been able to adapt to each of these environments. I mean, he's playing against Dredge, Lands, and soon-to-be Elves.
Oh,
There's
that is the Stifle. Is there anything
Devastating.
that Bobby can do to bring back that Oblivion Stone?
Academy Runes.
There it is. One of...
But with intuition to find it, including the loam package.
Yep.
He also has access to Ensnaring Bridge, which completely locked Jeremy out. Because game 1, Jeremy, I mean, at this point, Bobby's life total is low enough that Jeremy could theoretically compile enough lightning bolts to finish the job. But it'd be tough.
Do you think it was right, way back in the day, for Zurin Orb to be restricted in Standard? Or Type 2, as it
So you're
was?
saying it's going to take a few more hits?
Yeah. But I mean, was it right for it to be restricted?
In Standard?
Yeah. Or in what was Standard in Type 2, yeah.
Sure. I mean, it slows games down. Same reason you ban Sensei Divining Top in Extended.
Fair, fair, fair.
And you ban Legacy land tax. Wait a minute.
I was just thinking that.
But no, I mean, Zurin Orb isn't even good anymore. I mean, it's okay in this deck. Obviously, he's got 36 land. But Maze of Ith bouncing the Tarmogoyf. Nimble Mongoose successfully hitting.
What do we got? Wasteland.
AKA 2 life. What's tough is that the Nimble Mongoose is only doing 3 a turn, but every land Bobby draws is 2 a turn. And when Bobby eventually draws life from the loam, it's going to be brutal.
Yep. Gain 2 life, go to 5, then take 3, go to 2. This is not something that Bobby can sustain. He needs action, an intuition, a life from the loam.
He can sustain this
something.
for quite a while, though, right? Like, 'cause he's only actually net losing 1 each turn that he draws a land. And if he ever draws a loam or an intuition...
Crime. 1 card. There you go.
Huh. Alright. Well, there you go.
Raven's Crime. The first one is probably the only one we're going to see cast.
Well, this is game 1.
I mean, in terms of, we're not going to see it retraced at this point in the game. Most likely.
Not until Bobby gets to a situation where he can actually be loaming, but by then it'll be over anyway. Right now, Maze of Ith holding off the Tarmogoyf and the Mongoose ticking away, which means Bobby's on to sacrifice his lands. You know, sacrifice a land 2 out of 3 turns.
And there's a Tranquil Thicket, and... Dun, dun, dun. The first loam is stopped.
Jeremy buys himself a turn, but every turn he's going to have to do this, and it's going to, like, if he ever can't, if he ever falls behind...
That mana bond is waiting.
I know.
Waiting.
It's going to be, like, I mean, it'll... If Life from the Loam ever resolves, Jeremy's got very little way to actually... I mean, very little counterplay at all, if that loam ever resolves.
He has to lose 2 lands here in order to make sure his life total is high enough that the Nimble Mongoose doesn't kill him. Jeremy Stowe, perhaps with a burn spell in hand. Here gets the Dredge on Life from the Loam. There it is. This is a critical moment.
One more counterspell could knock Bobby down so low.
Do you have it? Fetch.
Brainstorm? Or is he just hard casting Force of Will?
It might be a hard cast. Oh, that is devastating. Okay, I think we're going to see one last turn for Bobby Kovacs to recover from this.
Right, like he's still got another turn because all he needs to do this turn is eat 1 land, and he'll still have 2 mana to cast Loam, and he'll have the Maze. There's the Force Will. I mean, he can actually keep this up for 2 more turns, because even on the turn that, like, there's going to be eventually a turn where he sacks his Maze.
Yeah, you're right.
After using it.
That's true.
You know, he's going to have to sack 2 land, but if he draws a land in the next 2 turns, and his deck's got 36 of them. Oh, he's not going to draw a land, though. He's drawing Loam every turn.
That's right.
Wow.
This is the moment. Are you going to go for it, Bobby? No, this is his last turn, I believe, then.
Yeah, he decides he has to do it this way so that he doesn't get wastelanded out.
And the goose.
Goose is loose. This is the moment of truth. This Loam is it.
This is it. Well, let's see.
Does it resolve?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, 2 Mongoose, on the other hand,
A Maze of Ith, too.
does mean 6 damage coming in.
Yeah. Now that he's actually taking 6 a turn, he's going to start falling behind. But he has a, like, I mean...
He can gain 6 a turn and he loses 6 a turn, but that's just staying in place.
But he's dredging through his deck.
Right.
Because what he can eventually do is find Engineered Explosives with Academy Ruin if he's got enough mana. Or he can find a cycling land so that he can actually get ahead on cards.
Yes, if he can get a there is a cycling land in the yard. He cycled earlier. He's got a Tranquil Thicket in the yard. Ooh.
Don't know how if he's just too bottlenecked on mana.
Here's the maze.
So, Jeremy at this point, amusingly, needs to find lightning bolts. Although actually counterspells would be good too. Just countering life from the Loam buys you another turn.
And it wouldn't be bad to get a Ponder or a Brainstorm to look for those.
Absolutely. I mean, Bobby,
So,
Bobby finally did what he wanted, but he's
perhaps a turn too
a
late.
little. I mean, he's literally with his back against the wall. He cannot have a single slip or he will die immediately.
The dredge.
Loam, dredge again. What is the plan here? Life from the Loam resolves again. Maze of Ith.
Academy Ruins.
Academy Ruins, sure. Another tropical island.
Maze of Ith down.
So now he's going to be able to Academy Ruins the Engineer Explosives for 1.
And he'll have the mana to activate it.
Now he's going to lose his mana bond. Right? Like he's going to lose his mana bond this way. But at least he'll be able to start making forward progress.
Now, will this Brainstorm seal it up anyway?
What a good game. Bobby Kovacs, 1 life.
If you're just joining us, this is the semifinal match of the Star City Games Live Open Series in Detroit, Michigan. Jeremy Stowe on the left with Rug Delver, Bobby Kovacs on the right with Lance. This is game 1. Maze of Ith untaps the attacking. Oh, Stifle.
Whoa!
Oh,
Wow.
zing.
I think that's gonna
Stifle,
be it, 'cause
stopping the maze.
in order for him to sack, like he can sack all of his land in order to, wait, is that even enough?
He might not, I don't know how big that Tarmogoyf is, but I bet you it's
No,
big.
Pack it up. That's
There
it.
we go.
Wow. Impressive game. Well done by Jeremy Stowe.
And it's exactly as you were predicting. Essentially, the Rug Delver deck, with its stifles, with its limited use of counterspells just here and there, managing to put enough pressure on lands that lands back into a corner, practically locked. And now, going to go to the second game for sideboarding.
Wow. And after sideboarding, I mean, Bobby Kovacs, he's used to having an advantage against a lot of people who don't have the graveyard hate. He's actually facing graveyard hate.
That's right.
All right. So before anything else, we're gonna do our 6 months of premium.
That's right. Half a year of free Star City Games Premium.
Yes.
Now that's a lot of Magic writing to be read for free instead of paying the premium prices, which are pretty good anyway. But getting them for free for 6 months, a deal. 0, better
Who
than
doesn't like to win?
winning is good.
So-
So how do you do it? Right here.
You got a trivia question?
I do, unless you have one that you really like.
No. First, I saved mine for the finals. I got one.
Hashtag SCG Premium. That's the thing that we need to see in order for you to be one of the lucky people out there who can win 6 free months of Star City Games Premium. Stick around for the finals. A Gen Con badge is at stake.
First 6 months of premium. The
That's
dollar
right.
bills, y'all. Trivia
That's right.
question. Tweet at us SCG Premium hashtag and SCG Live. Question
right.
is?
The question is... Okay, so the question is, we already have talked about there were 7 different archetypes in this top 8. 2 of them were these elves lists. So, the question I have for all of you all, what creature is a not white creature in the elves list used for the kill? What creature from the elves list, a not green, it's a white creature. What
Okay,
white creature?
Hey, are we talking about
My
the
bad.
dragon?
What white creature is used for the kill in the elves list played by both Chris Anderson and Caleb Durward? What white creature used for the kill?
We're not going to accept Kasali Pride Mage or Gaddock Teague.
Thank you.
Or Harmonic Sliver.
Back to the match at hand in this semifinal match. Not the elves match. Instead, the Rug Delver versus Lance. You already talked a little bit about Rug Delver having yet more weapons from the sideboard to bring in to interact with this opponent.
He's got Tormod's Crypts to help catch a loam, and just to hit all those lands so that he can't get them back. He's got Pithing Needle in case he needs to hit, like a Rashadan Port or Wasteland, but also just sometimes you just need Mana Bond.
That's right.
Or Academy Ruins or Explosives or Oblivion Stone. I mean, there's a lot of uses. It's like a stifle from now on. He's got Life from the Loam, which can help him keep up with the land destruction from Bobby Kovacs, as well as sometimes go after Kovacs' land. And he's got Surgical Extraction to try to catch a loam slipping, if you know what I mean, yo.
From the other side, Bobby Kovacs definitely has 1 Engineered Explosives that's coming in. And I think the only other card I see that might be a card I would consider... Well, there's 2 other cards. Cursed Totem to potentially shut down a Scavenging Ooze.
Not worth it.
Or
not for just 1.
Or the question of Dark Confidant, just to try to keep yourself being filled up with cards, because most of your cards are going to do 0 damage to you.
I don't think he's going to want the Confidant either, because it's possible that some burn would still be there, and 2, he's going to be under so much pressure, the life loss is going to be too important. He might do some amount of Dark Confidant, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's just not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question of it is something that the lands experts might have even debates about. I don't know. I am not a lands expert.
See, what I think what he's going to do is he's going to bust out Chalice of the Void.
Chalice of the Void at 1 on the play.
Exactly. Even if he just goes Chalice on 1, it stops future Delvers and Mongoose, the Mongoose. It stops Stifle, Ponder, Brainstorm, Spell Pierce, Thought Scour, Pithing Needle, Surgical Extraction.
Almost a better way to think about it, right, is if a Chalice for 1 drops onto the table, what spells can Jeremy Stowe cast?
He's down to 3 Goyce, a Scavenging Ooze, and then some cards like Daze and Force of Will. Other than that, his entire deck is locked out. So I think Chalice of the Void is going to come in and be a superstar. I think that's his big plan. Even on the draw, he's going to want 4 Chalice of the Void, and he's going to want to do it for 1, and it's going to be sweet.
That's totally true.
Now he is down a game. So he's got an uphill battle, but that's a very potent set of a very potent tool. What I wonder is, when are we going to see some of these like turn 1 Delver draws? You know, like turn 1 Mongoose, turn 2 Delver, or whatever. You know, or turn 1 Delver, turn 2 Mongoose, and just come out super aggro.
When? Maybe now. We'll find out.
All right, so we have an update. Caleb has defeated Chris Anderson to beat the Elf deck in the finals. Caleb Durwald, he told me earlier in the hall, he said, I didn't want to play Elves. I didn't want to play Elves, but it was the right call this weekend.
That's right.
And he was right.
So let's pretend, just for the sake of argument, that Bobby has a good game in Game 2. I'm not saying he does. Let's pretend he has a good game in Game 2. Since he has to win 2 in a row, he has to be at about 70% for his next 2 games to even have a coin flip against Jeremy. So being down that game, it is a real burden. Now that's assuming, of course, that Bobby would have that advantage. I don't know that that is even the case.
Yep, definitely do not know that he has that big of an advantage, but I know that based on the way he's been playing before, he's definitely cool with it. He's definitely laid back. He's got, he knows what he has to do. He's got the tools to do it. Particularly those Chalice of the Voids. I think those Chalice of the Voids, I mean, I think he's going to get at least one in the next 2 games easy, just in a free Chalice win. And it's very possible. I mean, he's got a 75% chance, almost a 70% chance of just, about a 67 to 70% chance of just having 2 Chalice games in a row if he can stick it. It's actually going to be almost dangerous for when he's on the play, for Jeremy to tap out on the first turn.
Look at this turn 1 Mox Diamond, and it works.
Is this a turn 1 Chalice?
It might be.
If this is a turn 1 Chalice, that is gonna be...
Oh my goodness.
Told you, man. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby actually has a 70% matchup or better, because those Chalices are just unbeatable, and he doesn't even have, like... I mean... He doesn't even have Grudge or anything. He has no artifact removal in his graveyard. I mean, his sideboard.
Jeremy now in the rough position where only 4 of his 4 cards in his deck can do damage, and all of them can be Mazavithed.
Yeah, he has 4 Mazeable creatures left, 7 0-mana counterspells, and none of his other cards in his entire deck... Oh, he also has 2 Tormod Scripts, but none of his other cards in his deck do anything. He has Life from the Loam, I guess. He can be on the Wasteland Lock you plan. It's a tough way to do it.
Yeah, trying to Wasteland Lock the lands deck when you are not a lands deck is a hard one.
That is a tough way to go. So, as we talked about, that just Chalice for 1 if it sticks. Man, he even had like Spell Pierce and Daze and all sorts of stuff, but turn 1 Chalice for 1 on the play is real tough.
And Glenn Jones chiming in once again. Yes, that was Chris Anderson losing to his own deck in the other side of the brackets. Turn 2 Life from the Loam.
So it's actually basically, like, at this point, Jeremy's full unlocked, right?
I don't know that there's anything Jeremy can do.
Oh, no, okay, I see. Because the Wasteland, it's not full locked, because the Wasteland can't hit the Misty Rainforest and the land it fetches in the same turn. He's close. Jeremy needs to present a clock real soon, but even that, it's like, what are you even doing? He needs that 1 Scavenging Ooze desperately. Dun 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 dun. You ever play Battle Chess? That's how you know you've lost.
A long time ago. Worth noting, the last 3 events that Chris Anderson has been in that are Star City Games events, the Indy Legacy, the Detroit Standard, and now the Detroit Legacy, Chris Anderson has top 4'd all of them.
And lost to his own deck every single time.
Oh, boy. There's like a bittersweetness there. The pleasure of the success of your other works, and then the sting of failure as you get beaten by them. 4 mana. Are we going to see a Chalice for 2?
Chalice on 2. Jeremy can no longer play spells.
Is that going to be it? Hey, I don't need my Loam anymore. I would like to lock out your deck.
If this isn't Force of Willed or Daze, he can just cast Daze. Cast Daze.
Or even, a Daze will stop that.
Yep.
Should he have the Daze? I think he does.
Yeah, he does. He had it in his opening, so this is...
One of the awesome things about that Chalice, being able to make an entire deck have blanks. And back comes a new fetch land.
Yeah, he doesn't want to put any dual lands down or they'll just get wasted.
That's right. There are 8 fetch lands for Jeremy Stowe's deck. Bobby leaving that Life from Loam in the yard this turn.
Yeah, I mean,
feels pretty loamed up.
Yeah, at this point, all he wants to do...
Academy Ruins for the Chalice.
Wow. Jeremy needs to play a Scavenging Ooze right now.
Oh, my goodness.
All right.
And what?
Maybe he doesn't see it.
He's drawing a card.
Unfortunately,
then he sees it. He's like, wait a second, what did I draw? Did that change my opinions about what I want to do? Okay. Maybe.
Oh, he doesn't do it.
Yeah, he saw it. He just decided not to do it this turn.
What makes his cards so good?
Did I see a Trinisphere? Is that what I see there as well? I don't think that was a Trinisphere. I must be misseeing that. Life from the Loam.
Loam, getting back. So I think this is a little unnecessarily greedy. Just drop the Chalice for 4 again.
Actually, that might be a Trinisphere. Trinisphere is great against free counterspells. Fetch. Getting 1 mana as protection against a daze.
So Kovacs up to 6 land of a variety of, 2 tropicals, a bayou, an Academy Ruins, a Mox Diamond, and a Wasteland, with a Chalice on 1, up against Jeremy Stowe, who almost his entire deck is locked out.
There it is, Trinisphere. Trinisphere, right now, Bobby Kovacs pretending to be a stacks deck and doing a pretty good job of it.
Man.
Jeremy looking at a handful of promotional cards.
How can you possibly cheer for a guy who does this instead? Like, Hypergenesis has like dragons and demons and angels and
I love
aliens.
I love decks like this.
You can't cheer for a guy who has Chalice of the Void and Trinisphere in play.
You
got no soul.
Are the Eldrazi aliens?
Yes, that's what Eldrazi are.
Aren't they Elder Gods?
Yes,
Cthulhu?
like Cthulhu. Same thing,
Okay.
man. It's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's all the same thing. It's just aliens.
Loam for 3 now with Trinisphere out.
Yes.
Life from the Law. Sorry, Trinisphere, the 3 drink minimum. You have to pay at least 3. You can pay more, but at least 3.
Yes, they are the space between the space. Absolutely. Dude, what? Is there like a Call of Cthulhu quantum physics book? It feels like there should be like a lot of, like a Venn diagram, a lot of overlap between people who are interested in both of those subjects and the, like, just the truth of what is. Like,
oh, Jeremy, you are a trooper to play this onwards.
trooper or glutton for punishment. This is a Trinisphere. It's like what else? Like, there's no. What else is going on?
And actually, to be fair, we've got Loam, Wasteland, 2 mana, and that's it. There's nothing left for Jeremy to do. He has no ability to meet the 3 mana minimum any longer. Jeremy looking.
Never give up. Never surrender. Whenever you're thinking about giving up, ask yourself, what would Reed Duke do?
And Bobby Kovacs, Loam.
Huh.
3 more cards for an Academy Runes to do some work on.
Absolutely.
3 mana, Life from the Loam. Da-da-da-da. Brings back Tranquil Thicket, and Wasteland, perhaps? Waste your waste. And again, Jeremy Stowe.
This is, I mean, he can't play any more
He can't
spells
play
the rest
spells.
of this game.
I mean,
but he's gaining information about how Bobby sideboarded.
there we go.
That's correct. He is actually gaining information because the more Bobby mills his own deck, the more Jeremy finds out.
Jeremy
What a trooper.
tapped by the Rishadan
You know what?
Fort.
That's a good play.
Tranquil Thicket,
That's a good
cycling to draw at the end of the turn.
So Bobby Kovacs continues to just have land in play. And a Trinisphere and a Chalice on 1. Jeremy Stowe, unable to actually play any cards, is in the position of watching Bobby Kovacs dredge his library so that he can gain a microscopic amount of information to help him in Game 3. I see why it is that Mark Rosewater and Aaron Forsythe and Zach Hill, when they write their columns about this, why they talk about not designing cards like this anymore. Like Trinisphere or Chalice of the Void or Rishadan Porter or Wasteland or any of this business. This is, I mean, it's interesting and it's a strategic battle, but it is highly repetitive, like in terms of the game state.
Do you think Bobby is having fun?
I think he's not particularly stimulated. No. There's a certain like flow, you know, when you're in this moment of flow, when you're being challenged, when you're being pushed to the limits. Yeah. Not in play, no.
Bobby Tranquil.
He has in his deck, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing he has.
To win with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see a
Creeping
ghost.
Carpet is how he wins.
Ghost Quarter.
He can also just run you out of cards.
Ghost Quarter there.
I love that he has no
basics
Mishra's Factories.
for
36
Jeremy.
land, and he could not make room for Mishra's Factory. He wins with 2 Creeping Tar Pits.
It's a path.
Absolutely. And eventually you put out Zern Orb in case your opponent's got a bunch of plows, so that you can keep sacking them.
And Jeremy, waiting to see what happens next. A tapped Misty Rainforest.
See, because he has Crucible in his deck, he can continue this lock even without the loaming. He doesn't actually have to keep loaming forever. Additionally, because he has Academy Ruins, he's not going to get decked.
Information.
Information.
The king of the realm here. Ghost Quarter again. Lots of cards for Bobby Kovacs. Perhaps some land to the yard. Maze of Ith. Oh, yep, Maze of Ith. Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale. Upkeep. He's tapping that Misty Rainforest with the Rishadan Port. And I think we're going to see end of the turn once again. A cycling of the Tranquil Thicket from Bobby Kovacs. Just, there we go. Right. Jeremy, that's enough.
I feel like Owen Turtenwald in the GP Vancouver. Like, when does it end? You know he snuck in at X3 into day 2?
Did not know that.
Looking forward to Avacyn Restored Limited not having to play it anymore, and instead, X and 3 you got to make day 2. And then X and 4 you have to play it out, trying for the cash. There's nothing like having to grind out like 4 wins in a row to try to hit a min cash. That's where you find out about a person's resolve, you know? So we're going to go into game 3. Jeremy Stowe playing Rogue Delver. Won the first game when his opponent didn't have Chalice of the Void in his deck.
Being on the play, Jeremy will have a chance to not only have a land in play to daze with, but a creature in play before a Chalice stops everything.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, it's always possible. I realize how it might be unlikely, but Jeremy Stowe is not Ephro. It's possible his opponent will not river the Stowe nuts, you know, or whatever poker slang sells the story.
Waiting in the wings, Caleb Durward with Elves, as designed by Chris Anderson. Caleb looking forward to one of these two being his opponent. He's just ready to, I think, get this underway and pick up a nice check. $15,000 given away this weekend. Caleb wants as much of it as he can get.
Is it? It's 15K?
15. Actually, let me
more
think.
than that, right?
I believe it's 15K per weekend. Let me do a quick check.
We have our fact-finding team. www.google.com.
That's right. Yes.
Don't be evil. Alright. As is traditional with Legacy, both players are spending 7.5 minutes shuffling.
Get busy shuffling.
Now, is Bobby taking a mulligan? I've noticed he's still shuffling. No.
Oh,
they're
what?
back round 3 of shuffling.
That's right. The prize pool, ever since the pool has been lifted, it's $10,000 a day. $10,000 for standard, $10,000 for legacy.
Insane. What I enjoy are the people who still use words like, oh, 5K. Is this the 5K weekend? Try 20K. Next.
$20,000 of Magic the Gathering prizes given away this weekend.
That's insane. Dude, $1 million. Over $1 million this year.
That's right. That's right. You know, I think that if you are someone that has a Star City Games Open Series event coming near you, you should make sure to get as many people as you can into that car. Drive 5 hours. Drive 8. Drive 10.
This is your advice?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Drive 10 hours?
Yeah, Magic is great.
Dude, drive 10 hours to the coal mine. Put in a good honest day's work for your 23 cents an hour.
You know, I think what I'm looking
walking
at here
barefoot
is the good times and
razor
the possible
blades.
payouts.
In the snow. Negative 30 degrees.
I like the good times.
Absolutely, dude.
I think you are one of those people that has driven more than 10 hours to much smaller events because the joy of Magic.
Dude, when you gotta win a PTQ, you gotta win a PTQ. You gotta get that done. Now, to be fair, I was already qualified at the time, so I was just going for the $500 first place. You kids today, you don't know how good you got it.
Well,
20,000. First place is what? What is first place for this thing? Like a couple $1,000s, right?
$2,400 for both days.
Plus the SCG points and the invitational invite.
Now, for those of you who have not seen the MTV Invitational commercial, remember, for some Magic players, you don't win, you don't eat.
Jeez, oh Pete. You guys are ruthless.
If you, after this tournament, do yourself a favor, everyone, check out the MTV Invitational Magic Tournament and see the amazing old school Magic commercials of old. Jeez.
Like Hammer,
Yeah.
Justice, Long.
That's Brian Hacker. He's a professional player. If he doesn't win, he doesn't eat. I actually don't remember whether it was Hacker, Hammer, Long, or Justice where they said if he doesn't win, he doesn't eat. But I think it might have been Hacker. Nimble Mongoose loose here for Jeremy Stowe. Bobby Kovacs hoping for a very fast draw. We don't want to see from Bobby a similar draw to his slow affinity draw, which worked out for him. But Goose, unlike the other creatures in the affinity deck, cannot be stopped by a maze. Chrome Mox works. Exploration, does it work? Is it in play? Days on the exploration. Oh boy.
Whoa!
Oh my
hey,
goodness.
hey.
Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale, money well
Hey, come on
spent
now.
here.
Come on.
The Nimble Mongoose unable to be paid for. Dead. Wow, that was pretty
Hey
awesome.
now. Come on. Dude, Ricky, is this legal? Are you even allowed to do this to people? He got his opponent to play a Daze on the first turn, and then he dropped a turn 1 Tabernacle.
Ricky Hayashi walking up to say, hey,
Dude, that's not even...
just missed the awesome action.
Alright, so Bobby Kovacs with a Wasteland, a Mox Diamond, and a Tabernacle of freaking Veil. Against Jeremy Stowe's Tropical Island. Both players with a big grip, but... I mean, every time you draw the correct random one of, it's not even fair. So Jeremy Stowe does have a Tormod script in his hand, so he's got some interaction to try to mess with a loam. What he really needs to do is put down a clock. But it's tough because he doesn't want to open himself up to getting Chalice of the Voided for one. Where it's just curtains. This is it's a tough spot, but until Bobby Kovacs has a life from the loam, he still has a reasonable counterplay. Jeremy Stowe, another shot at a Nimble Mongoose. And a Tormod script. He wants to get it down while he can. Bobby Kovacs surveying his options. That Tabernacle, so effective at stopping creature assaults. Fetching. Or rather fetching play, if I do say so myself.
I was going to say that. Darn it, too fast. Too fast to the draw. I'm too slow, Patrick too fast. Wasteland, Mox Diamond, Tropical Island, Tabernacle. One side of the table. The other one, Tormod script, Goose, and both of the colors of mana. Make that only 2 of them now that the Wasteland has been employed. Red-green left, and a brainstorm happening for Jeremy Stowe.
Debating on what to put back. This is not a bad situation as long as Bobby can't start recursing Wastelands. Ships the turn.
Pays for his Goose.
It's always a sight when the land deck is mana screwed. Another Wasteland. The Goose is loose. Pretty close to time to go ultimate.
The Relentless Assault.
Yes. Dude, why doesn't he play that? Goose. Goose you again, bro. Bobby Kovacs drops his 3rd land.
Trinisphere.
So,
Please play no more spells,
like we
Jeremy.
were talking about, Jeremy never playing any more spells. He's got
Is that a Force Will?
this.
You've
Yeah, he's
got to get rid of
right?
it.
Like, otherwise, he's never going to cast that Force Will.
There you go. I mean, it almost feels right now as though Bobby Kovacs, in a certain sense, is the beatdown here. Answer this. You got anything? You got anything? Jeremy Stowe fetching up another land, giving him access to both of his colors of mana. Or, sorry, all three. Correction. Not both. A quick announcement that was given me by Ricky Hayashi. As a result of the DQ in the top 8, all of the people below have been moved up a place. This means that Tristan Woodsmith, 65th place, will now be 64th and get $50 prize. Ryan Forsberg, who was in 33rd place, will now have a $100 prize, another $50. And Teresa Buss not only gets an invitation to the Star City Games Invitational Series, but also gets $200 that wasn't otherwise...
Extra $200.
An extra $200, extra dollars, yes. And this means that officially we could say that we have... And remember, Teresa was tied for this top 8. Teresa, with Maverick, is our 8th place finisher.
Absolutely. So Bobby Kovacs, transmuting Teleria West. Looking for Engineered Explosives to clear the board of Nimble Mongoose.
Now, those...
Jeremy Stowe, still just 2 land and a Tormod script. What's interesting though is that so many of Bobby Kovacs' one-ofs, like the more that pile up in the graveyard, the less options he's going to have later whenever Jeremy Stowe decides to pull the trigger on that Tormod script.
All of these players in the top 8, including now Teresa Buss, will be having the option for whichever invitational they choose to play for $75,000 each time. That's in Atlanta, that's in Los Angeles, coming on up. In with the Goose again. What is the count at? 1, 2, 3. Is it there? Is it 6 or is it 7? Untap. Bobby Kovacs draws a card. Engineered Explosives in hand. Land. Engineered Explosives for 1.
Absolutely. Got to keep the Goose under control.
It's a Maze of Ith in hand. Blows the explosives. No stifle from Jeremy Stowe. Jeremy comes back with Tarmogoyf. Maze of Ith still in Bobby Kovacs' hand. It says Zuranorb. Maybe I missaw that. Maybe that was not a Maze of Ith.
Is this Oblivion Stone?
O-Stone.
Zuranorb.
Maze. Oh,
bam, bam.
Boom. No
Thank
cards
you.
for Bobby
God
Kovacs.
damn. Well, this is a little bit of a turn of momentum. However, Jeremy still has that Tormod script, which is a big game.
Maze of Ith just stopping the Tarmogoyf until a wasteland can be found. Remember, we did see a critical stifle stop the activation. Oh, Chalice for 1.
If this
resolves.
All right. Well, Bobby Kovacs.
One more nail in the coffin.
Bobby Kovacs advances to the finals of SCG Detroit.
And Maze on the Tarmogoyf.
Sometimes you got to throw the percentages out the window. Just rely on your gut and cards that one card combo kill your opponent by themselves.
See the kill right there.
Bazooka
Oh, Bazooka Bog. I'm sorry. I thought that was the Creeping Tar Pit.
Dude, it might as well be the kill.
Tarmogoyf has suddenly become still fairly large given Bobby's graveyard, but Maze stops it, and he has no graveyard of his own. And we see the first fate counter being placed on the Zuranorb. Now, it's worth noting that that counter on the Chalice is not a fate counter.
Is it Chalice on 2, or is that a bridge?
That's a bridge. I can't
If that's
tell.
a bridge, then it's pack it up.
Brainstorm gets countered by the Chalice.
All right, this is concession.
Yeah, says Jeremy.
Okay.
And Sack. Maybe he's going to, let's see. You said there was no removal for artifacts in his...
Correct.
Wow.
0.
Then, yeah, that's the lock. Jeremy, his opponent Bobby knows that Jeremy has no outs at this point. He has seen his deck list. Has Jeremy remembered that he has no outs at this point?
No, he just took a look through his deck and saw all 0 of them.
He looked pretty quickly, though, and started shuffling, so maybe he needs just a glance one more
maybe
time.
he just doesn't want to know. I don't want to know. Dude, are we performing later, by the way? I was wondering.
Oh.
I know you've been practicing.
My dance moves aren't up to speed here,
I'm not
Patrick.
doing dance moves, dude. Let's just rock the mic here. Certainly no more commentating to do on this match.
Life from the loam.
Stormborn years ago, 9 all alone, trapped in my mind.
Jeremy does use the crypt. Loam now in an empty graveyard by itself. Jeremy going through the motions, forcing Bobby to kill him, apparently.
It's not over. Nothing's over. Heaven forbid we get out of the hall before they kick us out at midnight.
And we see a fate counter put on the ensnaring bridge. There is currently not a fate counter on that Chalice of the Void. That is a Chalice counter for 1.
So that's the play. Hope that you play a second Goyf, get him to blow the Oblivion Stone, despite the fact that he has a Zern Orb and a ton of land, and you have and he has a maze. Get him to blow it, getting rid of the Chalice, and allow you to start climbing back in.
Maybe that's the plan.
Dude, I respect that. Yes. He has a loam too.
Yeah.
All right.
Loam going.
No, that's cool.
Loam.
Do we have any updates from on the other side when we were watching paint peel? Did the paint successfully?
I think it peeled, was scraped off. A new coat was put down.
Dude,
and
why did we watch 2 land stacks? Are we insane?
This is the kind of magic I love, honestly. Talaria West, is that going to get the creeping tar pit?
I hope not. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Don't get a tar pit. Enjoy it, savor it. Let it just melt in your mouth.
Oh, man.
Yes, days. Punish him.
And he paid.
Damn it, he paid. He saw it. Well,
second maze of if.
So there's a Chalice on 1 and a Chalice on 2.
Or is that a Chalice on?
Okay.
There we go. Okay.
So Bobby Kovacs defeating Jeremy Stowe, advancing to the finals. I would not want anybody who's learning how to play Magic to watch this. This is good expert level stuff if you've been playing for a few years, but this is kind of